So, Jason, you're saving the goals for the playoffs? Did
Yeah.
you hear that?
Yeah, absolutely. We put them in the bank here in these last 3 games and decided we'll save them up for the first round of the playoffs.
Obviously, you rested a lot of guys tonight.
Didn't rest as many guys as people think. It wasn't a conscious decision for a lot of the guys to be rested. The 2 or 1 decision I think clearly felt like we wanted to get a guy a rest was Will Johnson. But over the last 24 hours or so, I had a very clear plan of what the lineup was going to look like, and it changed drastically. So with guys just having knocks and Javier getting sick this morning with the flu, and the only decision I think that we made that was clearly a resting situation was Will Johnson. Everybody else, they had an injury or something that we needed to consider whether we were willing to take the risk of having them further their injury in the last match and be unavailable in the playoffs. Borchers had a lingering quadriceps injury as of yesterday. He was on the board and in the lineup. And then talking to him over the last 24 hours, we made a collective decision that it was a silly thing for him to continue on with what's a slight strain in his quadriceps, which could put us back in the exact same situation we were in last year. And so we were just unwilling to take that risk.
You were mentioning about Javier being sick, and your thoughts on Kyle Beckerman taking the corner kicks for him there.
I thought Kyle started in a lot of really good balls tonight. Impressive display from him on corner kicks and on free kicks. He put a lot of things in the exact right area it needed to be in. And we need to work on that. I've said that earlier this year, and I really truly believe it. We've got to be a little more dangerous on dead ball situations.
Jason, can you talk about your defense's performance tonight? You had Kyle in there at goalkeeper. You had a couple of guys that normally don't start in the back 4. How would you rate their performance?
If you look at the back 4 plus 1, we had 1 player playing out of position. We had another player who hasn't played in the last month, who's still a very young center back. We had Kenny Mansali playing left back, and he hasn't played in a couple of months in a real game. We had Kyle Rainish playing goalkeeper, who hasn't played a game, and I can't remember when. And I think all of them performed very, very well tonight.
Ned was out there again for the first time in a while. How important is it to get him just playing well in the playoffs? Yeah,
I was really pleased with what he was able to give us. That was a decision to bring him out. I think he probably would have preferred to go a little bit longer, but we weren't going to do it. And I think it was a positive contribution for him tonight, and showed that he should be ready and available for selection come next week.
I guess big picture going into the playoffs, you've had 3 straight shutouts defensively, but you haven't scored in 3 straight. Are you positive or negative on that?
I'm going to take a glass half full approach for sure, because for me, just a little thing here or there is better, and we don't have 3 ties in our last matches. We have 3 wins. Literally, I think that if just 6 inches this way or that way with some of the passes or the final touches, or somebody just calms down and make a little bit better decision in and around the attacking third, then we're talking about all these wins we've stacked up. But I also think that it could be a positive thing to have a little bit of disappointment in our minds heading into the playoffs. Just give us a little bit of an extra edge.
We saw last time you played Seattle, such an aggressive game in the first half. Your expectations for Seattle's playing them next week? Well,
we'll see. We'll see where the game is. If the game is here, then we'll approach it as we do every single home game. And I think you saw even tonight, the first 15 minutes, we're all over them. And if it's not, we may have to consider a different approach.
Felt like you controlled the first half a lot better than the second. Can you comment on that? Were you pleased with one half more than the other? Or?
Yeah, I was. Again, I think the first half for me was a little bit better. I just think tactically we were in better spaces. Even when we lost the ball, we were winning it back in such good spaces, and then we were able to get at them quicker in transition. In the second half, I think we just got ourselves a bit too stretched out, as we have a little bit of a bad tendency to do. When we start to get a little bit desperate, we start to play more long balls, and that stretches us out in the midfield, and then there's gaps to play through us, and it wasn't as disciplined as performance as it was in the first half. But some of that comes through me telling them at halftime that we really want to go after the 3 points.
Can you comment on Jamison Olave's injury status? You'd said coming in it was close.
Yeah, I think he was close. But in the end, he's still feeling a little bit of pain in his hamstring, and I was never going to put a player that tells you he's still got a little bit of pain in his hamstring. He's had the injury issues he's had this year. Not going to play him in this last game. Going to wait another week, and hopefully with another week of rehab and training, he'll be ready.
Anything else for Jason, guys? One more?
Just one more. Being that it's Fan Appreciation Night and throughout the year, can you talk about the impact of the fans here in Salt Lake and what that's meant to RSL?
It's gigantic. It's huge. As I said out there tonight, you can never give them enough thank you. We truly do believe that they are part of our family. We hope in turn that we are part of their family. We think it's a very symbiotic relationship. We think that we need them to be here early. They were here a little late tonight. We need them here early, rooting us on for that first playoff game so that whistle blows, we can get after it.